Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Cultured Nerd Podcast. This week, we're going to talk about DC again and probably a little Star Wars. But this week, we're focusing on Peacemaker Season 2. It dropped its trailer over the weekend, and with it, everyone now kind of figured out that the story sounds like it's going to be a multiverse story. And then earlier today, we had the Superman trailer seemingly break the internet again. This trailer actually gave us a little bit more meat, more dialogue, and a lot more to talk about. So we're going to talk DC there. We're also going to talk a little bit about the ending of Andor because as we all knew what was going to happen with Rogue One, it still didn't stop me from being emotionally wrecked by that ending. So we're going to talk a little bit about all that and some other things. But without further ado, let's talk DC. And here we are.
Taylor, is this real? Is anybody ever going to hear this? Or is this actually going to make it to publishing, Taylor?
It might. I mean, so for context, yesterday, Michael and I sat down. We got about halfway through the episode of recording, and then the service crashed, and we lost the episode, and I threw some things, and I was very upset. So it was a bad afternoon. We just said, screw it. We'll do it tomorrow, and we'll do this again later. So here we are.
Froze like a deer in the headlights. You dropped, and I instantly looked like an agape fish of just like, and started typing and stuff like that. I then talked for 2 minutes about watching The Devil's Plan on Netflix, and then hit cancel and said, this is never going to see the light of day.
Right. Yeah, and then when I went back to look into the service to see if it recorded anything, it didn't. It killed the whole thing. So it was...
Hot dog. Wonderful.
Hot dog. It was gone.
C'est la vie, to the universe.
Off to the ether it goes.
Yeah, and what's funny is Taylor dissects the Peacemaker trailer, of which he will do again here.
Now I'm going to feel like, did I already say this? And I did, but it's never going to see the light of day.
Say your monologue again about the doors. But I think it's funny that we now get to see it in the context of the Superman trailer.
Yes.
Because we are seeing characters pop up in all these different places.
Yeah, so also randomly, the other week we recorded an episode and someone complained that I was looking down and not making eye contact with Michael. I build model kits, and every once in a while when I have time, I build them at my desk. I am now building the Heavy Arms Custom from Endless Waltz, and I'm taking painstakingly amounts of time to paint each gun barrel to make it like actually not plastic looking. So it's, if I look away, I'm not ignoring Michael. I'm just painting something.
Those Gundam wing designs, I launched the Blizzard launcher, and they were showing me the Gundam skins over in Overwatch 2. It legitimately almost made me fucking play that game. I've never wanted to play Overwatch 2, and I was like, if I could be maybe
I just play as the Tallgeese, I might do that. Yeah.
The Tallgeese look so good. That skin looked so good.
So I've said it before. I don't really care for that type of game. Fortnite, I will dabble in it sometimes when my son wants to play. And I did spend an entire season unlocking the Mandalorian's costume, and that was the only time I dedicated time into that. So I have a Batman costume. I have two versions of the Mandalorian, the non-Beskar and the brown one. I think I've got Boba Fett and I've got Sam Flynn, and those are the only costumes that I actually went out of my way to do. And then I really just stopped playing that game. And Fortnite's not my bag. I tried Overwatch for maybe an hour.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing with Marvel Rivals. It's the same game essentially, but I played it. I'm like, oh, this is fun. I can see where the market is. I'm going to go back to my RPGs. And then I went back to playing what I was playing.
People love that Marvel Rivals. They have a very strong player base, and people love the shit out of that game.
And the fact that all the character designs are thirst traps doesn't hurt, I guess.
Doesn't hurt.
Especially Venom. He's got that walk and that jiggle, so good for him.
But I feel like they should call us the Trailer Park Boys. I feel like I saw 5 different trailers today. I feel like 1 million trailers dropped.
They really did. I am going to digress before we dissect the other stuff. Sure. So Marvel dropped the first trailer for Ironheart. It looks okay.
I didn't see the trailer. I saw somebody making fun of the trailer, so I kind of saw the trailer, but I didn't see it. On its own.
It looks like something that I'm going to probably binge, and I'm not going to like watch weekly. I'll just wait till it's done.
Okay.
It has a lot of pieces that I think I'm going to like, but I think the presentation may not just. I don't know. Maybe I'm not the target audience. Obviously, I don't care about teenage girls that much, so
Well,
I don't think I'm the target audience.
but they obviously are tying this in with the Thunderbolts movie, right? Like she must be some sort of connecting tissue between all of these cinema universes, correct?
No, she ties off of the Black Panther movie that everyone was kind of forgettable about. Um, but the funniest thing imaginable happened, and I think Marvel's PR team did not realize what they were doing, and they did it. So the villain for this show, one of the supporting characters, is this character called the Hood,
Yeah.
and he has this red hood. He's got double guns, and he works kind of like this demonic. He has devil powers basically because his hood is supernatural. Um, the trailer that they put on social media is like the Hood is entering the MCU, and the trailer starts showing all the black characters and then goes into showing the Hood. And I'm like, you guys phrased this so badly that this is the funniest damn thing that I think that could have possibly done. They're like, the Hood has entered the MCU, and then shows Riri Williams. They're like running. I'm like, guys, no, no, no. And then I opened up the comment sections, and everyone's like, I really hope they didn't realize. Like, this is so funny. And so many comments are just trolling Marvel for how ridiculous that the PR department clearly wasn't paying attention.
No, they can try as hard as they want to. That's just a legitimate fuck up that all of those nice people in that room, nobody thought about what it would mean showing this predominantly black cast saying
And
that
saying the Hood is entering the
entering
MCU.
the Hood. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I
mean,
was
we already
laughing
have
so hard.
we already have like right Daredevil's neighborhood, his old neighborhood. That's a bad neighborhood.
Yeah, but I know what they're trying to do. Obviously, they're focusing on the character of the Hood, but they should have started the trailer by showing him and not like
Oh, by the Hood, do they mean like Cloak and Dagger, like those
no. So
characters?
this character, he actually has a couple of pistols, and he wears this like red cloak, and the cloak gives him superpowers, but it's like a gift from the devil, so it's like bad.
Oh, that's wild. That Marvel was like, you know what the best part about Doctor Strange is? His coat. Can we get another coat character? And they were like, oh, we got one. Oh, we got one.
And his name is the Hood, and he's going to be played by a Hispanic actor.
Yeah.
And we have a predominantly black cast, and I'm like, guys, this is so bad. Other random things that happened today, Warner Brothers embraced the hilarity of the fact that they're jumping back to rebranding themselves back to HBO Max.
Everybody calls it HBO Max. I never stopped calling it HBO Max.
Right. So they put it out, say HBO Max, same app, new-ish name, plot twist everyone's been waiting for, right? So they're making fun of the fact that they're rebranding back to what it was. And the memes that Warner Brothers has made from this, they've actually published their own memes, and they're pretty gold. There's even a video that they put out of all the cast and crew over the last year and a half going to interviews and saying, we're now on HBO Max. They're like, no, it's Max. They're like, why did they drop the HBO? And it's like a whole video of and even John Cena like, I'm not calling it Max, it's HBO. And like everyone just making fun of the name, and they're very much in on the joke, and I thought it was great. So good for them for being self-aware and just taking it on the chin, because it was good. But without further ado, let's talk some DC, because I have thoughts on Andor, and I'll talk about that at the end. But DC dropped two trailers. The first trailer being Peacemaker, and the trailer begins by exploring him trying to join Maxwell Lord's super team. He's having an interview with them. It's played off a kind of a joke. You've got the first actual look at Max Lord. You got Green Lantern. You got Hawkgirl, and they make these jokes about eating popcorn and gaining weight. And what if this guy can even hear us? He's stupid. This is blah blah blah. And he's like, I can hear you guys. And they're like, oh crap! And they start laughing, and it's a joke, and they kind of treat it as a joke. But right off the bat, the trailer showcases that this is part of the DCU now. Throughout the trailer, they do drop some breadcrumbs that kind of tease that this is going to be exactly the same Peacemaker, but crossing over into a different universe. One weird shot that I want to always point out: Michael Rooker's Native American spirit guy with magic powers. I don't know what that's about, but I'm curious.
That's Ayahuasca Man. He's going to blow cigarette smoke in everybody's face, and they're going to become better with their childhoods.
Probably, hopefully. See.
Hopefully.
But there's a shot in the trailer where John Cena is in his dad's pocket dimension workshop in his underwear and a t-shirt. He finds a random door, goes through the door, and ends up in an alternate version of the world. He sees this office space, presumably a house, some changes to the timeline, like the Hanoi Rocks poster that he had in his show is now spelt different with the cast, the crew all wearing kind of different outfits. And he's confronted by another Peacemaker. Now, what made this significant was this Peacemaker obviously has a different helmet, but his symbol is inverted. His bird is flying up instead of down, and the bird is yellow instead of white. The colors are inverted. Instead of it being a white bird on a yellow background, it's a yellow bird on a white background.
So is that also to imply that this Peacemaker is, I understand that they're not the same, but that this other version is a completely different universe version?
Possibly. Maybe this is a version of Peacemaker that never really changed his stripes and says, I'm going to enact peace no matter what the cost, and he's still kind of an asshole. So he hasn't had the character growth that our Peacemaker has. But as this trailer goes on, we see something happening in the pocket dimension with, it seems like vigilantes killing Jennifer Holland's character, and then
is he killing her or is he pulling her away?
She's getting her butt kicked, and the trailer looks like he's beating her. So it kind of seems like he's the bad guy here.
Okay.
But in the trailer, you see John Cena's character now in the other Peacemaker's outfit, running through the pocket dimension. And there's a lot of speculation online that because he goes through this door, maybe he fights this other Peacemaker and ends up taking his place, or fights him, runs away, goes through one door, and then ends up in the other universe by mistake and can't get back. So however they want to swing it, it definitely looks like the pocket dimension and the multiverse angle is going to play a role in this series, which hopefully answers all those questions for people and why this is not the same Peacemaker, different universe.
Do you think that we get then in season 1 dimension, we get all of the crude humor, all of that shit, and then when we go over to the other one, we see a slightly different flavor of all of that?
Possibly. I mean, it would be a lot funnier where, like, if he like drops an F-bomb and they're like, dude, we don't do that. We're public. It's not okay.
Yeah, okay.
Like, just some kind of like acknowledgement that like this universe is not like more PG, but it's also not like no holds bar like the other ones seem to be.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting because, like, I mean, even our society, right? Like, it wasn't commonplace or public etiquette to swear in public until the early 2000s. So it was very, like, you swore in public, people would scoff at you, like, "Oh, don't be like that." Like, there was like a public shame factor of the 80s and 90s.
So, Taylor and I were part of the millennial wave of cursing like sailors. We did it everywhere. It was our cross to bear, and we enjoyed it.
Yes, and now we realize that we were also part of the problem that made society worse. But
I mean,
either way,
sure.
Either way, so the trailer does kind of imply that this is going to be a multiverse story, and it's not going to erase everything, but it's also going to hold it all there, but also explain a little bit of why the things are getting a little weird. So hopefully they attack it head on, and it seems like this is going to be very much a very different season.
Do you think Peacemaker makes it into the Superman movie?
Not in the movie itself, because the show comes out later. So my assumption is that this show is going to be like a few months later, and he's going to be like, "Oh, so there's a Superman here. He looks different." Okay.
Does Superman show up in the Peacemaker show?
I don't think so. I personally don't think so. I know that Rick Flag does show up, and we have Green Lantern and Hawkgirl. So we know that there are some continuation factors of Superman into this world. Maybe we'll see a newscast or something. But James Gunn even said the Justice League doesn't exist yet. So I don't see anything beyond Lord's team, and that's being it.
And then cut to the Superman trailer, which the thing I was most surprised by is that all of these different set pieces have such different tones. The newspaper kind of feels retro 70s. His apartment kind of feels a little bit newer. Parents' house felt like the 80s. His cave feels very futuristic. Also, who is spinning Blade Woman? Who is the lady spinning blades everywhere?
We talked about this before. So there's obviously a sequence where Lex infiltrates the fortress. and Crypto is like, nobody's messing with my dad's house. Get out of
Yeah,
here.
he's such a good boy.
And we've got him fighting the engineer is her name. She is a metahuman, can make machines out of her hands and everything. She is part of the Authority later on,
Okay.
but she is a member of that team.
I love the stark contrast that Lex looks so not human, shiny, pretty, no hair, right? And then we see Superman, little 5 o'clock shadow, a little bit disheveled. He's had to work a full day. I love all of these little design choices between them. Also, I like that the kaiju kind of looked cartoony a little bit. You know what I mean?
So there was that one shot that I was like, okay, this is a pretty cool shot of Superman, and that's a great shot of it fighting that kaiju.
Look at that kaiju.
I loved this trailer. I thought this trailer was fantastic. It again gave absolutely nothing away, which is not a bad thing.
It didn't give anything away, but it talks about the plot, and we know that the big issue is Superman is trying to be the best super person he can be, and unfortunately, that is butting up heads against international politics.
Yeah, so very much like what happened in BVS, but probably not as dark as the tone as BVS. And I think that was that's a very interesting take to put it at, because James Gunn and Zack Snyder are friends. They talk about this openly. They're not weird about it. But this trailer, what it did was a very different take on how Superman's view is with the public versus what clearly is being Lex Luthor deciding that he wants to manipulate everybody and make Superman into a villain. And we got some really cool shots of the Lord Tech team. I liked seeing everyone use their powers. Mr. Terrific looked just fantastic with his tech and just being awesome. Hawk Girl looked awesome and fierce. And Green Lantern, you saw him actually make a giant hand construct and mess up a bunch of people. What I thought was very interesting was that we saw a little bit more of Lex's, presumably his metahuman prison with his little guards there.
Yeah.
And the shot of Metamorpho, you see that Superman is clearly weakened because Metamorpho has morphed his hand into a chunk of kryptonite that is keeping him from being able to be anything.
Ooh. And then they're going to talk for a long time and get to know each other and hear about all of their issues.
And then my theory is that this shot right here is him using his powers and creating a burst of solar energy that gives him the strength he needs to bust out, which is why in that other shot we have him punching the glass. He's got that giant bright light behind him, as I think Metamorpho makes a nuclear explosion in his hand and gives him the boost he needs to be strong enough to break the prison.
Lois and Clark are Lois and Clark. They're obviously in a relationship, but maybe it's new because she clearly doesn't know about his dog.
Yeah. So from what he has said in behind the scenes stuff, that Lois and Clark are very much a brand new couple. He's told her everything, but the way they're kind of positioning it is that Clark is clearly more in love with Lois than she is. Ooh. And she's still kind of learning how to trust him a bit more. So she's still very hesitant, and he's like, what's your deal? Let's be in love. So very much the naive farm boy falling in love with the jaded city girl.
And unlike BVS, it feels like, I guess that's not true, because the one guy threw the can at Superman's head. I was going to say
both heads got hit with cans.
Yeah. But I was going to say, is the public on his side? We see the one side where he gets knocked down and the guy helps him up. It's going to be Superman versus everybody, I think.
It seems that way, but you see a lot of people like rushing to his aid because he's still Superman.
Yeah.
But the questions that were being asked by Lois was, why did you think it was okay to unilaterally enter a combat zone in another country? And he's like, because it's me. I'm just trying to stop. She's like, but you're a representative of America. He's like, I'm a representative of myself. Like, his stance is very different. Like, it wasn't so much with BVS. We had Clark saying, should I do this? Is this right? Why do I have to do this? And this one is like, I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. And
that's what his dad told him in the trailer. His dad said, it's what you do that matters.
Yeah. And I liked how we obviously saw both Pa and Ma Kent alive, and they're very much like old-time farmer kind of a vibe to them. So I thought that was great. The mom being like, okay, honey, I'm going to go wash your boots. Go fight. Like, very much just like two two budding senior citizens just like we raised a monster. Let's just we're tired. Like they seemed worn down, but they were like, whatever, let's do this. I loved the dynamic that we saw of all of these characters, and even just the interactions between Clark and Jimmy seemed like they're genuinely buddies in the office. Clearly Superman gets his butt kicked at some point, so he goes back home to like detox, but
Yeah.
he and his dog are just hanging out in his old room, which I thought was very nice and very fun. But again, we don't know a lot about the plot. We know that Superman intervenes in a conflict between another country, the Hammer of
Does Crypto live at the Solitude, or does he live with Ma and Pa to protect them from aliens?
So we know that he lives at the Solitude, the fortress. So my assumption is that this shot is after he gets his ass kicked.
And the dog,
okay, and the dog is like, I don't got anywhere to go. I'm coming home with you. Okay. So like, I'm just assuming, and that's probably what leads to the other trailer, that the teaser we got, where Crypto is doing something in the city, and Mr. Terrific has a box of milk bones trying to calm him down and kind of wrangle the monster dog. So we'll see what happens there. But I think both trailers were a lot of fun. Showed a very different side of DC, which I think people are kind of on board for. It seems a lot of fun.
Well, especially when you compare that to what Marvel is doing, where I don't know if any of the Marvel stuff, I don't know. It's funny that the moment you go into the galaxy, we lose that like Earth problem. This movie shows very Earth related problems, like things that we would have to deal with as well.
Yeah. And so what I thought was probably the more interesting aspect of this trailer was we saw the Hammer of Borovia, the guy who basically looked like a flying juggernaut, fighting with Superman. And this guy, let me see if I can pull up the photo, because it shocked me a little bit by what they did. This guy kind of gives me the vibes that he's got Superman powers, which was very interesting. I think maybe we'll just kind of tread this territory with the spoiler alert. This is theory time, but my ongoing theory has been for a while that the Hammer of Borovia, or however you pronounce it, I believe that suit is a LexCorp suit, and this guy was a plant by Lex Luthor to destabilize the nation.
TCNT, can we get is that a spoiler? Can we get theory time? Can we get like
yeah, we'll make a theory time tag
soon.
Okay.
So that's Lex's suit. This is Lex's suit in the prototype.
I believe firmly that this is Lex's prototype suit. But I'm also wondering if this dude is just a dude inside, or if this is also a Superman clone, aka what they have with Ultraman. So my theory is that he has slapped a super-powered meta in a suit, had them destabilize the country, and it would kind of make sense that it would be probably the same Bizarro character that we already have in the other suit.
Oh, okay.
Because I think Ultraman, the guy who's clearly beating up Superman here, and the Hammer, they may be just the same dude in the different
suits. Okay.
So one not broken Superman clone is doing all of his bidding and just wearing different hats.
And that's Rick Flag Jr.?
Rick Flag Sr. That's actually the other Rick Flag's dad. That's the guy from Creature Commandos.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, because he did. Okay, so I guess he recovers.
Yeah, he clearly recovers. But he's now working at the Pentagon as the head of Argus, because Amanda Waller has been ousted from Argus. So we'll probably get more information on how he took her job.
Right, in her show.
Yeah, or however that happens. Whether or not she gets a show, we'll see what happens. But I know that they said that they're putting it on the back burner a little bit, but whatever. We don't really need a Waller show as much as we need all the other characters to get their shows. So
Sure.
But we will see what they do there. But
then I had the thought that trailers are showing way too much information. I watched the Nobody 2 trailer that showed most of the movie. I also watched the new Kung Fury trailer.
The movie that's been caught in development hell for years, that had been filmed years ago and was kind of stuck in this weird litigation period where they weren't allowed to release it, but the trailer looks absolutely insane and a lot of fun. They need to put that movie out already.
They showed the whole movie. I feel like I saw the beginning, middle, and end. They showed all the plot points.
They did. And I have so many questions on why it's not a thing yet. But seeing
You know,
Michael Fassbender look like an 80s hair metal rocker was the best thing.
so good. Looked so good. I'm so happy Fassbender's back and is doing movies. And I don't know, it feels like he's going to do fun movies for a little bit, which I would love to see out of him.
But they also filmed this movie a few years ago and has been stuck for a while because of it. So this is technically older Fassbender, not younger Fassbender, not current Fassbender.
Listen, young. Listen, I like all Fassbenders wherever they are, whether they be
wherever he's at in his life, I support
Fassbender.
him.
Absolutely, those are the benders I want.
Yes.
And then I didn't see I saw the fake Ironheart one because the person was making fun of it. I saw the Superman trailer. What was the other thing I clicked on? There was one other one I couldn't believe.
Well, while you remember that, Michael, NBC screwed up today, and it was the best thing they could have done.
What did they do?
NBC Universal is getting ready to do their big presentation for like their like next their big slate thing, which is what we got Warner Brothers doing earlier today.
Okay.
They accidentally updated their site and revealed that the new Super Mario movie, Super Mario Brothers 2, or whatever they want to call it, is actually going to be called Super Mario World.
Wow, that's so cool.
And they called it that, and they're like, oh no, we updated the assets on the site before the presentation, and they immediately pulled it, but people saw, and it's a thing.
I remember the trailer I saw. Am I allowed to talk about the Spider-Man Noir trailer, or are we not supposed to see that yet?
Yeah, let's talk. I mean, it was released by Amazon. Let's talk about it because Spider Noir, I think is what they're calling it, looks great.
Looked great. It's so funny that like so many things want to look like Sin City, but even like the second Sin City movie didn't look like the first Sin City movie. This feels like it's in that genre. It looked good.
It's funny because a lot of people I got a lot of comments saying that, yeah, this is Sin City Spider-Man. We're down for this. But a lot of people were like, hey, I'm so glad that the Sin City vibe of movies didn't die with the spirit because this is so fun. And I thought the trailer looked great. And Nick Cage as a jaded noir detective with spider powers just looks fun. I'm all for it.
And it's also a really great role for someone like Nick Cage because we get the Mandalorian effect. And I'm sure that stunt team can do all the flips and shit, no problem, because they're not a man in his early 60s.
Yeah, they're really not. It's just like Pedro Pascal is only in that armor maybe 1 or 2 times each season.
Sure.
And the rest of it's done by stuntmen, and he just does ADR work. So,
speaking of actors learning stunts, did you see the host from Traitors, the guy who played Nightcrawler?
Yes, Alan Cummings.
Alan Cummings just spilling the beans on this Avengers versus X-Men plot that's coming.
Yeah, so whatever this movie's going to be, which a lot of people are thinking maybe this is Battleworld or something that's happening, but it sounds like there's at least one sequence where Nightcrawler has to fight Mr. Fantastic, and I have no idea that I wanted it so bad until he said it. I'm like, I want that. I want to see it. I want to see, and Mr. Fantastic just flailing his arms like a little inflatable arm guy.
Do they give Nightcrawler his sword?
If they don't, I'll be annoyed. He needs his sword.
Does Alan Cummings look like cartoon accurate Nightcrawler?
I hope so. I mean, I liked the blue paint with the tattoos of the burns, the angelic marks, whatever. But I would also love like if they made it like the show where he's blue but has a lot of dark for like the shadowy effect for his mutation. And yeah, I mean the trench coat was one thing, but give him that red devil thing. Like, let's do that. Why not?
If Channing Tatum is in that movie, I think Channing Tatum is going to be the funny character, and Deadpool shows up in the next movie.
Probably. All right, and then the heavy stuff. Did you watch Andor?
No, I'm behind on Andor. Listen, I know what's going to happen. I'm just behind.
You have no idea. So the final stretch happened, and you're like, okay, yeah, we know it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen because Rogue One's coming. They tied it all together so well, with the last couple episodes basically being like, Death Star, Galen Erso, we got to believe the rumors. Let's go find it. And then when you think everything's done and over and beautiful, and you're like, okay, so he's going off to go meet his contact on that space station and start the movie of Rogue One, they cut away to a scene on the other side of the galaxy, and then they rip your heart out of your ass. And you're like, oh! It was, a buddy of mine was like, did you watch it? I'm like, yeah. He's like, am I going to be, he's like, how was it? I'm like, you're going to cry. And he's like, how? I know I know his character dies. I'm like, it's not about his character. You're gonna cry.
Thank you for not. If you won't tell me, I'll watch it as fast as I can. Okay, I'm gonna watch it. I listen. I'm happy that Star Wars is getting positive buzz, and I'm happy that Andor is attracting the audience that it is, and it is of the quality that it is. I hope that it attracts other quality filmmakers, whether that be in television. Please let them play with these characters, because when you give them to talented writers and producers and directors, they do really great stuff.
I will say, this show, like both seasons and Rogue One together, tell one big story. Masterful masterpiece of Star Wars. Like, this is the best writing they've done in the franchise.
Do you think this should be the new model moving forward? 2 seasons in a movie?
Maybe that's a good model. Honestly, 2 seasons in a movie sounds pretty fair. I will say, the one thing that still irks me is the recasting of Bail Organa for the handful of scenes he's in. Not because the actor's not good. He's a great actor. But my issue has always been with recasting in weird, intermittent ways, because you had Bail Organa played by 2 characters now. We had Jimmy Smits, who played him in the movie, in Obi-Wan, and then in Rogue One. And then you had him played by, oh my God, I just forgot his name. Benjamin Bratt, who played him in season 2 of Andor. And
why couldn't they get Jimmy Smits back?
It's not clear what his scheduling conflict was and why he couldn't come back. But the issue to me with recasting, even if it's for something bit like this, is that you have episode 3, Obi-Wan, played by Jimmy Smits, and then you have him played by a different guy for Andor season 2, and then he's played afterwards again by Jimmy Smits. So it's like, I watched it, I'm like, it's inconsistent, because it would be like if Terrence Howard played War Machine and then was replaced, and he came back and played War Machine again. It's like there's a whole chunk in the middle where it's just continuity-wise, it feels weird.
Is there any chance that Terrence Howard shows up as Iron Man in this battle world, where Iron Man shows up and it comes up and they're like, oh shit, and he's like, Iron Man died and I'm Rhodey and I put it on and this is what I look like.
And then everyone's like, you're not Rhodey. And then the other Rhodey's like, wait, what? And they just make a joke out of it. They should do that.
Taylor, that Rhodey is a scroll. And then there's another one who's inside of it. The real Rhodey. Hold on. Where is Rhodey? Does he have a suit? Where is his suit?
Yes, Rhodey is fine. He has a suit still. From what I was reading behind the scenes, Rhodey was replaced after the events of Endgame. And that's where we're at. So,
so there's another Ironheart Rhodey person, but we don't know who that is.
No, Rhodey's still Rhodey. I mean, he's still War Machine. But the War Machine that was in a chunk of the MCU after Endgame was a Skrull.
Wild.
So,
okay. All right. Well, what else is there? That's everything.
Right. I mean, we talked about the DC stuff, Super Mario World being a thing. I gushed about Andor, and I dare you not to cry at that moment, because you're already going to be emotionally charged from how those 3 episodes went. Then I watched them in succession. I just sat there for like 2 hours and was like, I'm just going to watch them right now. And I just powered through.
Loving the drama of the One Piece animation team calling the audio team to get their shit together and do a better job of scoring their artwork, because they're really letting the team down. I've been loving that.
Yeah, that's a fun little weird. So apparently Solo Leveling Season 3 hasn't formally been announced yet, but it sounds like behind the scenes it has kind of been moved forward in production. Apparently Season 1 and 2 were so rough on the team to make that project that they had to take a break because they crunched themselves and worked themselves silly. So we're probably not going to see another season of Solo Leveling for a little while, but they are still doing it. They're just taking their time to decide when they want to.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, take their time. Whatever.
Take their time.
But with that note, I think we have answered all of the. Oh, lastly, Michael, have you caught up on the Gundam show?
No, that's the other thing. I've been watching The Devil's Plan. I'm behind on that show too.
And Gundam's not hard to watch. There's only like 6 episodes. They're 20 minutes apiece. You can sit down for like an hour and a half and catch up.
I'll get caught up with them. Yeah, you like what they're doing?
I like what they're doing a lot. It seems like next week is going to be the episode where Shinji activates the Ava and goes nuts.
Okay.
So that's kind of what
That
it seemed like
probably-
in the preview. So-
Does that also mean all of these new Gundam shows have a part in the show when everything gets fucking real and it's not fun anymore?
Yeah.
Is that this episode?
I feels like that. So there's been a rule of thumb with most anime that by episode 8 is when the show goes insane. And they always say that episode 7 and 8 is typically when the show shows its hand and things get real.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Is that when they do the girl dog thing by episode 7 or 8?
No, that was like in season 2, but still.
No, in none of right in. The guy makes the girl into a dog child and it dies.
It doesn't die because it died. It's like they had to put it down because it was a monster and it was horrible. We don't need to talk about what he did to his daughter. Let's just get away from that guy. It was traumatic enough 20 years ago. It's still pretty bad.
It's still pretty bad now.
It's still pretty bad.
Me. Okay.
But it's kind of just this rule of thumb that on a debut season of a show, typically by episode 8 is when things kind of ramp up really hard. And a lot of people kind of talked about that with Dan to Dan, how that show, when episode 7 and 8 kicked in, that was when you have like the backstory of the ballerina spirit, and you're like, oh my God, my heart has been ripped out of my butt. I don't know how to react. So this is going to be episode 7, and the trailer kind of looks like she's going new type Super Saiyan or something. I don't know, but like it looks like it's going to be nuts. So
new type Super Saiyan, sign me
she does
up.
this thing with her eyes in the trailer, and I'm like, she awoke the Ava. Like that's kind of what the vibe I got was that she went berserk. That's what it looked like.
Love it.
But yeah, it seems like a lot of fun, and everyone's got to deal with my closing remarks and musings of Gundam because I don't get enough people to talk about Gundam with.
Listen, I'm happy you told them to me. We'll talk about all of those things once I get caught up on them. And if you what are you
get caught up?
Okay, we'll get caught up. And if you would like to get caught up with us with monetary value, head on over to the patreon.com/theculturednerd. If you're watching this online, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that little bell if you want to hear those episodes when we go live right away. We talked about a lot of things. Question of the week. What do you want to see in the Super Mario World movie? You know exactly what's going to be there. We're going to see capes. We're going to see Yoshis. What else do you want to see? Taylor Murphy's been your host. Me, Michael Santel, I'm your co-host. Drink water, eat food, take care of yourselves, and we'll see all you kids and cats next time.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Adios.